There's FedEx.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, I'm. We're going to be going live in a second. I'm going to take you right off, and I'll bring you right back on.
be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going live now, but don't worry, they can't hear anything. Just text me. There you go. There you go. We got to move her for a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those folks that are out there, welcome to the Speak and Sell 5-day challenge. Congratulations, you've made it. You're here at day number 4, which I think is the most important day of all of them, because we're going to talk about how to create and monetize your very, very own stage. And just for those folks that are tuning in for the very first time, for those folks that are just showing up, let me do 2 things here. First, let me just acknowledge everyone who's went in and did the homework. So doing the homework takes time. Some of you are here all day long and you're working right now. And then others of you, I'll just say like this, you got up this morning, some of you took care of your family, and that's important. Then you went off to work, and while you're at work during the day at your 9 to 5 or your sponsor, you joined in, you tuned in, you listened to this. Then you went home, did family things, and then you worked on your business, and then you did the homework as well. So congratulations to you as well. Others of you, for whatever reason, just couldn't get to it yet, and that's okay as well, by the way. I just want to acknowledge you for being here. I just want to acknowledge you for the champion that you are. And then we're going to do a deep dive in to day number 4. But before I do that, let me just do a quick recap, right? Day number 1 was all about crafting a unforgettable and captivating story. And that's very important because you want to use story formulas and story selling techniques as well. So there's storytelling and then there's story selling. There's storytelling and there's storytelling. And that all builds up to where we are now. Then day number 2, we went in, and many of you did your homework, and some of you do it over again. Day number 2, we went into how to win stages. And Dr. Woods actually stepped and pulled back the big black curtain, if I could say that. She reached down to her treasure chest of secrets, and she came back out and she kind of said, look, here's how I win stages today. Here's how clients I work with are winning stages today. And more importantly, here's what you need to do to prepare to put you in a place to start being able to win stages. And if you didn't get the replay, I'll show you that. The replay is available. There's some really cool things we're doing. And then day number three, I see she's about ready to make. Day number 3, we kind of stepped into scaling beyond the stages, really creating high-end coaching programs and compelling offers. And Dr. Woods in that particular situation went in and went to a lot of different ways that you can monetize and you can make money in this business. And then I want to hone you in on having a solution that solves the biggest problem that keeps your audience up at night. Like if they could come to you and their world could be changed in a many different areas, and it involves you bringing on a team, involves you collaborating with other folks, and involves you being able to offer a high premium value type of product in the market. What would that look like? What would that be like? Now, I'm not saying you got to go switch your whole business model, but for some of you, if the offer was, I'm making this number up, $10,000, and you were able to identify 2 individuals that needed that, or 2 companies that needed that, that's another $20,000 that comes in over and beyond whatever you're making today. And here's the deal: just took 2 yeses. And I want you to imagine for a moment, before I bring on Dr. Cheryl, I want you to imagine for a moment how your life would be different this right now if there was an extra $25,000 per month, and let's say in some cases $50,000 per month, and that's going into your bank account month after month after month, over and beyond whatever you're earning today. There's extra $50,000 going into your bank account. What would your life look like? How would it be different? Do me a favor, not for me, but on a piece of paper right now, put down what would you do with the money, and write these words: $50,000, I would. And maybe for some of you, you would hire a full-time assistant. Maybe for some of you, you would pay for a family member's health care insurance. Maybe for some of you, the school your kids go to would no longer have to fundraise. Like you would write one check and say, here's a check for me for $3,000. Go buy all the footballs that you need right now. Okay. Go buy all the socks you need right now. What would you do with an extra $50,000 per month over and beyond you have today? Maybe you would retire your spouse. maybe just put it away for retirement. The reason I say that, the reason I do that, and I'll bring you up in a minute, Dr. Cheryl, Dr. Woods, you're coming up now. The reason I say that is that today's conversation is not about how do I go and get $50,000 by convincing someone to get me on their stage right now. And that's important. You got the ideas to do that, and you can do that. This is not a conversation today about, wow, what story do I have inside of me that can be so captivating that someone would say, please come on my stage, right? Because there's three ways to get on the stage, by the way. One way to get on the stage is you got so much talent, you got such this gift, it's so unique, they got to have you there. That's one way, and that's important. The second way that you can get on a stage, by the way, is you bring an audience. So you're part of something bigger than you, and you bring an audience. You bring folks to the stage with you, and that's the second way you can get on the stage. And then the third way you can get on stage is you can collaborate. And on this particular segment today, we're talking about creating your own stage. And for those folks that are out there that are ready to create your own stage, and you believe, and I believe this with every fiber in my heart, that speaking is the fastest, easiest way to build your business. Just speaking is the fastest, easiest way to build your business. It's the fastest way to serve more people at one time. It's the fastest way to leave a legacy. And it's the fastest way you create your own stage for you to create what I would call your digital media empire. And if you know that to be true, and you know you're ready to step into that, do me a favor in the comments section just below. And even if you got a hold of this video, just write these words. I will build my digital media empire. Put that down. I will build my digital media empire. I want you to write that down like right now. And the reason I'm saying that is you're going to create a stage, and you're creating a stage for one reason. And many of you are going to use this in this whole digital world we're in right now. You're going to build a digital media empire. See, you're writing that right now. That might not have been in your goals. And if some of you are clients, or some of you worked with me before, you know, it's all about the 12-week year, right? That's one of the top 10 books of all time in my life, 12-week year. And it's all about building your digital media empire. So long when you're gone, you'll be able to watch that. I was sitting back last night, and Dr. Will, I'm bringing you on now because I'm philosophizing now. I know we got to get going. I'll bring you up in a minute, but I had a chance to go back, and my father passed away. His name is Marshall Brown. He passed away March 3rd, 2017. We're very close. He's here in Washington, D.C. And one of the things that I enjoy about my father at the end that I didn't do enough of was video recording. And I'm not going to play it, but just the other night, which was last night, I'm in and I'm watching, because there was a video I happened to catch of him talking to my sons. Like, and my sons at the time when they were younger, they, Dad, put the camera up, that kind of thing. And I'm so glad I captured it, because he was talking about never give up, never give in, never give out. And he talked about a story of him on the baseball team and how the coach wouldn't put him in. And my father claimed at the time, it may have been true, that was because of society, racism. He was a Black Panther and a lot of things. But he said he never quit. He never gave up. And you never give in. And when I was watching that, it thought about a lot of you and myself, that what if I never had that? What if and it wasn't something I purposely went and created a stage for. What if I didn't have that media that I could look at over and over and over again? And that's the power you're going to be creating. Yes, you're going to make money. I understand that. Yes, it'll be for a bigger cause. It'll do that. But it also will allow you to generate sales in your business that provides you the revenue. And that's what Speak and Sell is about, providing you the revenue. Put that in your notes, providing you the revenue to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And those people you were called to serve, without the revenue to go hire a copywriter, without the revenue to go have a web page, without the revenue to have an assistant or have a brand, without the revenue to travel to an event, you can't reach those folks. So here's the point I want to make, and Dr. Wood, I'll bring you up. I know we're going to talk about creating their stage, and I'm on this rant right now, but as I watched a lot of what you were all doing and what you were putting, and I went back and looked at the videos, here's the point that I want to make. Everyone jot this down. You might even want to take a picture of this. Maybe I'll post that out there. The selling is the oxygen to any great business in history. You got to speak. You must speak. You must be able to effectively communicate. And one of the things reason I partner with Dr. Cheryl Wood is being able to speak, being able to clearly articulate, being able to get your message across, being able to communicate with other folks. Without that, the second piece never happens. It just doesn't happen. Okay. But selling is the oxygen to any great business in history. And so without the revenue coming in, there will always be more money going out than coming in. So today is probably one of the most important conversations. We're going to talk about how to create your own stage. I'm going to toss it to Dr. Wood, and she'll be talking about maybe one stage to create, and then I'll chime in and I'll be talking about the stage. But I'm going to talk about two of them, Dr. Wood, if I can, just for a moment, that are important and why it's important. Before I do that, Dr. Wood, I've been dominating the conversation. I'm apologizing. And cats text me saying, Shay, you're on a rant. Shay. So I'm getting the text messages. I'm sorry. Dr. Wood, how are you doing? It says, Shay, how is the family? Holla at your boy. Okay, you're muted, so you gotta come off mute.
Well, that's what speakers do. We just start talking. We won't even look at the mute button. I'm phenomenal. I'm wonderful. I'm excited to be here. I just realized, I'm like, wow, this is the most I've had to get dressed up in a long time, like 4 days in a row. I was like, shoot, I got to do my makeup again. I'm just saying, this is real life. This is how it is. COVID has kind of gotten us comfortable, where it's like we don't have to do some of the things we used to do as often because we're at home versus live events. But this is a reminder of kind of what it takes for you to really be in the game. So anyway, so it's been a refreshing reminder.
And they asked, were you able to get your kids on time? Obviously, they're not stuck on the street somewhere. Did you make it yesterday?
I did make it. As long as I leave here by 2:15, I am on time for my kids. Now, the first day, it was good because my kids were out of school. Mm-hmm. So it was like, that was great. But then, yeah, the rest of the days is 2:15. That's my time, so I can go up the street and pick my kids up. Yeah.
You know, before we jump into the topic, which we will, folks might be wondering, Dr. Woods, you've got so much going on. You got SpeakerCon conference that's going on in the middle of this right now.
Yep.
They might be wondering, why would Dr. Cheryl Wood stop and take time, as you, in your own words, pour into folks so they could understand the value of being able to speak and to sell? And if they're doing the homework, which many of you are, I'm gonna give you guys feedback. Doing the homework every night, you're doing the video. Some of you delete each other and put another one up. But why is Dr. Wood like stopping, jumping on, getting dressed? I mean, she didn't talk about me having to get dressed, but that's fine. I'm not.
You don't have to do makeup and hair.
Hey! I choose to shave. That is a process. Okay, that is a process. Thank you very much. But in all seriousness, because I know we gotta get serious, but why would Dr. Cheryl Wood stop everything she's doing right now to be part of Speak and Sell to pour into other folks? And I only want you to do about 2 minutes on this, and I'm going to give it to you. And as y'all are watching and listening, here's why she's here. And she has to run and jump and go grab her kids. And that's a big responsibility. But that she's here giving you the best she has right now. Why are you doing this, and why do you think it's important now for speakers that are out there to really be able to get on stages and at the end of the day, be able to make some money? We're gonna be talking about money days. We go, oh my God, they're talking about making money. Why is that so important, and why are you here?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, not only am I 20 days out from my annual premier conference, which is my biggest initiative of the year, every year. So I'm 20 days out from that with all types of moving parts and logistics and flying speakers in and all that good stuff. But in between that, I have two big speaking engagements before the 20 days for SpeakerCon. So I have a speaking engagement. I'm going to be a keynote speaker in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's for Ignite Alabama. That's a big event that's happening. And then the day before that, I'll actually be in Tampa, Florida, doing a half-day speaker training for a company that does health and wellness. So I have a lot going on. I'm pulled in a lot of different directions. But here's my thing. My thing is my speaking engagement for the company, the fitness company, is October the 24th. The keynote speaking engagement for Ignite Alabama is October 25th. SpeakerCon starts November 2nd. Y'all, the question becomes, how do I make my voice count today? Like, it's that simple. Okay, that's great that I have that coming up. That's absolutely wonderful that I'm going to be doing this half-day session, training session. That's absolutely wonderful that I'm going to have that keynote in Birmingham. That's absolutely wonderful that I'm anticipating SpeakerCon in 20 days. But what if the 20 days didn't come? And that's not to be morbid. That is to be realistic. To say life is short and life is precious. And if I didn't know how short and precious it was when my father passed away on Thanksgiving Day of 2009, I was reminded of it again on August 22nd when my 20-year-old nephew passed away in 2020, 2 years ago. I am constantly aware that life is short and life is precious. And it doesn't matter how many plans I have for tomorrow. I can't guarantee that I'll be here to execute them. So what am I doing today? That's it. How do I make impact today? How do I make my voice count today? I know it matters, but am I making it count by pouring into somebody? And that's why you'll hear me jokingly but seriously say, somebody gonna get a speech today. And it might be here through a program like this with Shay. It might be to my husband and kids, but somebody's going to be impacted by the gift God has given me, by the message that is inside of me because of the stuff I've been through in life, and by the expert knowledge that I now am sitting on because of my 48 years and all the things that I've learned through my own life journey. So yeah, I'm here because you matter. My legacy matters. Your transformation matters. My legacy matters. Your transformation matters. So always remember that. It's my legacy and their transformation. Can y'all type that in the chat? Like, that's why I'm getting on stages. That's why I can't just be on one stage a month. That's why I can't be on one stage every couple months. No, I need to be on a stage speaking, pouring into people's lives every opportunity I possibly can because it's my legacy and their transformation.
I love that. And those folks are putting her legacy, my transformation. Cheryl, Dr. Wood, what I'm going to do is take a moment because we're going to talk about creating and monetizing your own stages. And you went over a list of number of things yesterday. And one of the challenges that everyone always has when it comes to any product is how do I get folks and how do I collaborate, right? How do I have some lead generation system? And what I want to do is take about maybe 3 or 4 minutes here, 5 max. And I want to share with you guys my number one lead generation idea, which is POI. And the reason I'm leading that with that, just from a mindset perspective, just from a mindset perspective, is that in the back of your mind, when Dr. would talk about, yes, you must have a live event or a virtual event. And yes, you must have some type of challenge going on. And yes, you must have a workshop you're speaking at. And yes, you must have a webinar. And yes, you must do a master class. And yes, you must have a mastermind. And yes, this, a podcast. And yes, this. One of the challenges that comes back to folks say is, Shay, where do I go find folks? Right. And I recall when I was in that same situation, and I'm going to tell you about another client right now, but I'll tell you about myself when I was struggling. And this one idea was introduced to me, and the idea or strategy is called POI. Now, before I get into teaching that and sharing that, I want you to just have a mindset shift for a moment, because I believe there's 3 ways, put these 3 things down, 3 ways to elevate your results, your business results, your speaking and selling results. We call it the inner game, INNER game. Put that in your notes. The second way is the outer game, OUTERGAME. And the third way is action. I'm going somewhere. The inner game is the mental side of success. So it's your belief systems, it's your comfort zone, it's how you deal with the fear of rejection. It's your mindset. And some mindsets that I have, and I had this mindset before, is that there's not enough people. No one has the money. I'm having a hard time meeting new people. And you should, because if not, it'd be hard. But I'm going to give you a different mindset in a moment. The second way to elevate your results is what they call the outer game. And the outer game is all the tactical side that you need to do in order to generate leads, which I'm going to give you right now. So when I share these 2 strategies, and the third one is action. Action is just moving yourself to do the things you know you should do in your business. I'm going to focus on the 2. And then I want to give you a technique. And the reason I want to focus on mindset first, just like mindset around selling, that the selling is good. This selling is service. This selling is service. This selling is service. This selling is service. If I said that too many times, do me a favor in the chat. If you're taking notes, put this down in your notes. Selling equals service. In order for me to serve, selling is the door that I got to go through to serve them. And the way I serve them is I offer them a solution. And that solution, that product that I'm going to be offering, that's the transformational space that they come to. That's the throne. That's the altar. You create a transformational space. When Dr. Woods talked about she has a mastermind, that's a transformational space. We talked about a boot camp that we're going to be doing coming up. That's a transformational space. And you're going to feel good for those that do attend, that we at least made an offer and had a solution for you. Okay, that's a mindset. That's a mindset that's selling this service. Now, as I say that, just around getting in front of folks who are qualified, folks who have an interest, want, or desire in your products or services. I don't want to get the message I got yesterday, which is, where do I find these people? I want to make sure I spend a couple of minutes and tell you that I walk you through that. And here it is. Very, very important. From a mindset, put this in your notes. There are too many leads out there. I can't help everybody. So I was working with a financial planner. Financial planner tells me, Shay, I can't find anybody to work with. There's no one out there. No one wants to buy. No one's interested in insurance. No one's interested in financial planning. First mindset, and you might have that mindset right now as a coach, someone helping someone transfer their life and health, someone helping someone grow their business. I want you to say, there are too many leads. I can't help everybody. That's number one. It's all about creating your stage. Number two, leads represent hope. Put that down in your notes. Leads represent hope. If you're sitting out there right now and you want to earn an extra $25,000 or $50,000 a month over and beyond whatever you're earning right now, then leads represent hope. Leads represent hope. You want to leave your job, that 9 to 5, then you need more leads, because leads represent hope. If you want to be a 9 to 5 millionaire, you want to stay at your job and still do this on the side as a dualpreneur, leads represent hope. Someone put that in your notes. Leads represent hope. Leads represent hope. No leads, no hope. Now we're going to talk about monetizing your stage, but you've got to have people to come to your stage. You got to have people watching. You got to have someone there. Leads represent hope. Remember hearing something from the great Les Brown, and it was on a live event, not like this here. I think it was at the Power Networking Conference, and he was up there speaking. He was doing his thing, and one of the things I remember him saying, I'm paraphrasing him, is he said that 80% of your revenue over the next year will come from people you don't know today. And I thought, sitting down to myself, 80% of people I don't know, this guy is crazy. But I'm here to tell you that 80% of the revenue you're going to generate between now and next year, and imagine it's 12 months from now, we're here and you're looking back 12 months from now, and there's folks that you're serving, there's people that have written a check, there's stages that you're on. It's going to come from 80% of the people who are not even in your database right now. They don't know you exist because of what we're going to do by creating our own stage. Leads represent hope. No leads, no hope. And then the third one and the final one I want to give, just around a mindset, this one around a mindset, because you might be thinking, where are these people coming from? Here it is. The list of people who don't know you right now, they don't even know you're on the planet, is so much longer than the list of people who do know you. Let me say it again. The list of people who don't know you. There's this list of people. They don't even know you exist today. There's so much longer than the list of people that do know you. And that's why creating your own stage is important. That's why doing things that you didn't think was important, it's so important to you right now. So what I want to do is introduce a tool to you. I want to give you the capabilities. And the tool I'm going to share is called POI. So everyone tune in right now. Listen very carefully. How did I get here? If you're doing something, you can stop what you're doing. And I want to bring up my number one lead generation idea. Number one. Now, I'm not going to go around the room because we don't have time. But if I was actually put it, matter of fact, in the chat feature, if you've got an idea that you're using, a strategy you're using right now to get in front of new people all the time, put that in the chat feature. That's like your number one way of getting new leads into your database. I'm going to share one here called POI. POI stands for person of influence. So in your notes, if you're taking notes on your phone, you can just go to the place where you can put your finger and you can draw on it, but draw a triangle right now on your phone. Draw a triangle on your phone. At the top of the triangle, write POI. POI. POI stands for person of influence. At the bottom of the triangle, write down customers. Just like you have there, write down customers. And the question to ask yourself, the most powerful question that any entrepreneur can ask themselves, any speaker, any author, any thought leader, any coach, any network marketer, any course creator, anybody in the self-education industry who want to be paid more for what you know than you can do, here's the question. Because powerful people ask powerful questions, because questions really steer focus. And in this life, you get what you focus on. And here it is. Who has my customer? Who has my customer? Who is someone I can go to and influence one time and get direct access to their network? So you're not trying to sell the POI, you're trying to get access to their network. So they have your customers in their network. So let me give you the example that I gave to the financial planner, and let's just call her Cheryl for now. And Carol's like many of you, she always want to get in front of new people. And I don't know one entrepreneur that doesn't want to get in front of new people. So I said, okay, Cheryl, let me share a story from a corporate perspective, right? And you think of a company that's doing that, you think of Starbucks and Starbucks, the coffee. And did the world need another coffee shop when Starbucks got started? No way. Did the world need a $5 coffee? Absolutely not. That was absurd to pay $5 for coffee when Starbucks first got started. But that wasn't the question that Starbucks asked themselves. The question that Starbucks asked themselves is, who has my customer? And someone said, Barnes and Noble. They go off to Barnes and Noble. They influence Barnes and Noble one time, and they get into 583 Barnes and Noble. That's a bookstore, by the way. It's still around, believe it or not. And then someone sitting at the Starbucks corporate leadership office said, who else has our customer? And someone said airports. Now, whether you travel or not, if you watch a movie, if you travel, anytime you're in the airport, you're walking in the airport, you look around, what do you always see inside the airport? Starbucks, duh. Last time. Starbucks is sitting around. They want to grow. They want to get better. And the question Starbucks asks themselves is, who has our customer? And someone says, your light's out. Hold on. What happened to my light? Why did it go out? That's weird. Rule number one, don't panic. That's rule number one. Rule number one, don't panic. I'm back. So someone said, who has our customer? And someone said grocery stores. So Starbucks goes into grocery stores, and the result of going to in the grocery stores, Starbucks gets into Whole Foods, Target, and other stores. And you go up and down the East Coast, you're going to see a Starbucks. Shay, what in the LL Cool J's that have to do with me and have to do with Carol? Well, here's what it has to do with you. You can apply that same principle. Right now, POI strategy is a strategy you can apply in your business. So I'll tell you how I did it, and then I'll tell you how we helped Carol. I, in my business, said, POI. I go off and I meet Cheryl. I influence Cheryl one time. I get access coming to you into Cheryl's direct network. Okay, that's cool. Dr. George C. Frazier. I went and served. When he called me and said, Shay, you're a great speaker. I love you, by the way. I just want to have you come speak at the Power Networking Conference. You might know what that is. Just know it's one of the top 5 business conferences according to Forbes magazine. But I served my way, and then I influenced him one time, get access to his network, and therefore I got a chance to speak there. When I first got started, one of the ways I got started wasn't speaking. I created my own stage. I would call companies and I would ask sales managers if I could be a guest expert at their sales meeting. No selling. I would show up at their sales meeting, just like Brian Tracy did or Anthony Robbins. And then I would serve there, teaching closing and setting appointments. But I had access to the network of all the sales reps who were there, who I would invite and give my little cassette. I may have my cassette over here. Let me see if I can do a show. Do I have it over here? Nope, I don't have it. I can't do a show on you guys because it must be downstairs. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Here. I still got it. I got it here. I can't find the other one. I used to go sell these cassettes. I still keep these cassettes up there, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm reminded of my days when I wasn't doing what you guys are doing. Coaching practices, I had hair, even had like, you can't see it, even had a red thing there. And I would go sell these and I would go sell my books in the back of the room. But I got access and I start building all these sales reps up. POI strategy. Carol, who would have had to go back to freaking work for a job. We helped her generate leads by dealing with pastors. And I used to ask her, she said, I want to work with churches. I'm in the faith community. I asked the question I'm going to ask you. And I'm going to talk about creating your own stage. I'm going to have Cheryl talk about how do you create a live event or online event or event or summit or event and that kind of stuff in a moment. But some of you got to get people there. All right. Some of you are like, where are folks coming from if I do a webinar? Where are they coming from if I do a master class? I was talking to her and I asked the question, you want to work with pastors? Sounds pretty cool to me. I like that. I said, well, how many churches do you have in your database right now? Just like you, if I was to ask you who your ideal client is, you want to work with HR managers all over the world because you have a gift and you want to go teach diversity. The question I would ask is, well, how many HR managers do you have in your database? You know what the answer was? Well, I'll say this, 0 or not enough. Okay. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, if we want to influence churches or pastors, you want to get access so you can deal with them with money and ministry, why don't we go to Google? Now, I'm gonna give you guys an idea, and I'm coming over to Dr. Cheryl Woods. I said, if it's free, it's for me. Can you not go to Google? Type into Google and get the name of all the churches within a 90-mile radius of where you live. Could we not then have that information? Could we not then contact the churches and have a sales logical argument? I'm gonna talk about that when Dr. Woods finishes, a sales logical argument to get a meeting with them. And could we not invite them all to your conference call? Back then it was conference calls. Okay. We didn't have webinars. We had to get them on the phone. It was a conference call. And you would teach the same thing you're doing, what we call webinars, right? It was like a little virtual conference call. And you know what? She went on, she was able to keep her full-time job. And she was able to earn over $5,000 a month is what she needed in order to continue to do what she was doing. I tell you that to tell you that we're going to open up now how to create your own stages. I'm going to bring Dr. Woods up, but you're creating your own stages for one reason and one reason only. You have to share your message, but you're creating your own stages so that you can also build your list. One of my 12 rules for life, you're on live now, one of my 12 rules for life, Dr. Woods, is that collaboration crushes competition. Everybody put that in your notes. Collaboration crushes competition. Collaboration crushes competition. And the reason I want you to know that is that when you open up and you create your stage, it allows you to collaborate with other folks. And you may have heard this before, just like Cheryl and just like many others, you might have heard this before, that the money's in the list, the money's in the list, the money's in the list. But let me give you the Shea Brown remix version. I'm part of the Puff Daddy generation, okay? We got remix version, everything. The money, here's the new thing. The money's not in the list. Although that's a very profound statement. It sounded good back in the day. Here's the new age of selling. The money's in other people's list. Let me say that again a little quietly. The money's in other people's list. And so when Dr. Woods walks up and she might talk about, just for time to add, she might talk about, hey, you need to do a live event. And this is what a live event looks like. And here's how you monetize live event. You go, oh, the money, I love the money. But I want you to think about all the folks that are going to come aboard and be in your database that are now on your list because you implemented what we call a POI strategy. And here's the cool part. And I'm getting a sales perspective. She's going to get it for you speakers who want to get on stage and all that cool stuff. But I want you to hear my heart and hear her heart as well. And this is so real. I'm trying to keep it honest with you that once you have a stage and you create a movement or you create your audience, guess what? They invite you to their stage. No, seriously. Check this out. You have a stage and they say, wow. And then they got to reciprocate, but now the reciprocation takes place. So with that being said, Dr. Woods, I want to turn it over to you. Just take a few minutes if you can. I'll fill in the blanks, but I wanted them to know that there is a way to get leads. Where's this came down? There is a way to get leads. There is a way to get new folks in, and building their digital media empire is one way. And maybe you'll walk through a live event or a virtual event, how they can create one, and then how they can monetize it. Because for speakers, it's very, very important. And you do that. I think probably the top 5 people I know that do it on a consistent basis. You sound good, but your lips look good while you're moving, by the way. I mean,
I told you that's what we do as speakers. We just start speaking. We never look at the mute button. I love that the collaboration crushes competition. And I love that the money is in other people's lists. Like, those are 2 of my big takeaways from your session. Just all powerful content. And I hope you all have been enjoying this challenge and enjoying the content that's been coming with the challenge, as well as the homework assignments, which, by the way, kudos, because some of y'all have been up late at 11:30, 12, because I've been up and approving you and accepting you into the group and peeking at some of your videos. So kudos to you. So hosting your own events, I believe, is one of the quickest ways to develop the credibility that will get you on other people's stages. That will also give you the credibility to be able to build a portfolio where you will become someone who people are magnetized to because they're seeing you consistently. Now, before I jump in and I absolutely give you just some phenomenal things to think about, I'm going to roll through it because y'all know I'm on time frame, but it is what it is. I'm a little mad that Shay has the ability to pull up his pretty little PowerPoints, but mine doesn't do that on this end on StreamYard, but that's okay. Next time it'll be ready. So, so here's the first thing I want to ask you. How many events do you attend each month? Or if you want to give me how many you attend each year, like just put some numbers in the group. Because some of you are very, very methodical and intentional. And you're like, oh, I make sure I attend one a month or one a quarter or whatever. And this is live and virtual. How many events would you say you attend either every month or every year? Give me some numbers. Put some numbers in the chat. Let's just see where people are. What's the number for you? Are you intentional? Are you strategic? Someone put 2. Someone said, Judy says 2 per month. Someone else says 1 per month. And I can't see the names over here on StreamYard, but it's okay. I'm reading them out. Someone said at least 3 a quarter, 1, 2, 6, 1 to 2 per month, 2 a month. Okay, good. So you know how much time, energy, effort, and money you're investing in attending events. Here's the next question. Why do you attend? Why do you keep attending? Like, okay, you went to an event last month. Why are you going to another one this month? Or you just went to a virtual event 2 weeks ago. Why are you doing another one 2 weeks in 2 weeks? Or you just went to one last quarter. Why are you going to another one? What is your primary reason for going to live events or virtual events? Why are you attending? Like, make it concise. Just give me the low down and dirty, as they say. Why do you go to the events? What is it? Someone says networking. Okay. What else? Yes, to have a presence and also to network. Hey, B. Jacqueline Jeter says enrichment, growth, and networking. Judy said to make connections, personal growth. Okay, good. They're coming in now. Education. Someone said always learning. Keep going until I make the big move. Exposure to see how other people do it. Fun, meeting people, learning something. Personal development, networking, connection, and association. Meeting people that can, yes. And that person who just typed that last one really hit, someone said knowledge, hit the head on the nail on the head. Is that what they say? They hit it. They hit the point that I wanted to make. So you know, and you were able to quickly respond about how many events you attend and why you attend them. Now the question is, how many events do you host? And the reason I ask that is because successful people, the most successful people, learn and lead. Learn and lead. So it's great that you're going to events to be poured into and you're learning, but the question becomes, what do you do with what you've learned? Do you add that back into your wheelhouse so that it becomes a part of your leadership? And hosting events should be a part of your leadership. Because the other day, was it yesterday, we talked about the 5 modalities of learning, and live events would be considered as what? Let's see who really caught on to it yesterday. Live events would be considered as which modality? There are 5 modalities for learning. What did I say live events would be considered as? Who remembers? Let me come back over there. Let's see. Someone said, Jacqueline said she's hosting her first virtual in December. Fantastic. Pushing myself out of my comfort zone from my full-time job, learning. Okay, good. Who remembers what modality when people come from offline and they come and they connect with you in person? It's a specific, come on, there we go. It's the E, y'all. It's experiencing. So remember, people learn from you through reading, hearing, seeing, experiencing, and mastering. But they can see you on a webinar. They can see you through a challenge. They can see you on Facebook Live. They can see you on IGTV. So they can see you a lot of places. They can see you on a pre-recorded something, audio, or not audio, but video recording or digital training. But they want to experience you. And the experience happens when they are in person with you. And some of you have not grown your community, which is a lot about what Shay is talking about, consistently growing your list and growing your community. Some of you haven't grown your community because you are not giving people enough opportunities to experience you, because you're not doing enough live events, and you're not doing enough live events because ain't nobody inviting you. How long are you going to sit on that excuse? That's the real question. How long are you going to sit on the excuse? Well, nobody's hiring me to speak on their stage. Then create your own. Some of you have what I call AAAC syndrome. Put that in the chat. AAA, triple AC syndrome. AAAC syndrome. Y'all know what that is? That's avoid at all costs. syndrome. That's what some of you have. You avoid hosting your own event at all costs. Now, the question becomes, what is it costing you? So what is avoidance costing you? Is it a cost? Is it costing you the opportunity to build a consistent community who want to experience you on a consistent basis? Is it costing you the opportunity to be able to increase your list? Is it costing you the opportunity to increase your profit margins because now you have a community of people who want to invest in what you're selling? Like, what is avoidance costing you? Some of you are in AAAC syndrome. You're avoiding hosting something at all costs because either you don't like it or you don't know how to do it. And again, the question becomes, how long are you going to use that as an excuse? That is no longer a reason for you not to host something live because you don't like it or you don't know how to do it. The key is to figure out, how do I make this something that's enjoyable to me and transformational for the people who want to experience me? And number two, how do I learn the tools of the trade so that I can make sure this event is profitable so I want to do it? Because I promise you, the first time you have a truly profitable event, oh, you will start hosting more events. But most of you, even if you tried it before, or you are thinking about trying it, the reason that you haven't executed or you haven't done it again is because the first time you did it, it was just a big old party. Yeah, everybody came and they ate and they smiled and they took selfies and took pictures and you had the pretty backdrop and all that good stuff, but you didn't make any money from the event. So you came out, in fact, not only zeroed out even, but you came out in the red. And because of that, now that scares you in terms of thinking about doing it again. Or for some of you, you hear about so many stories about people who go into the red, or you haven't figured out how to monetize it and how to make it profitable. And so you will not execute it. So today what we're doing is challenging you to come out of avoidance syndrome and say, I'm going to execute, but I'm going to execute with more information, more knowledge. So the first thing that I challenge you to do is, number one, start small. Start small, but start. Start small, but start. Now, what that means is you don't have to go out and have an event that has 300 people. That's a lot of pressure to try to find 300 people if you're still trying to grow your brand and grow your community. So what we want to do is we want our goals to always stretch us, not stress us. Y'all got that? Stretch you, but not stress you. So instead of trying to go so big because of what you want it to look like to social media and people who they have nothing to do with your profit margins, focus on you, your company, your business, your impact, your profits, and say, okay, you know what? Can I get 25 people who are my ideal target to say yes to investing in being a part of a live event that I host? It could be a summit. We talked about this yesterday, a one-day summit, a half-day summit. It could be a lunch or a brunch event. It could be a full-blown conference. It could be a one-day conference. It could be a multiple-day conference. It could be a live workshop. Like, it could be a mastermind. There's so many things that you can do to host a live event, but it doesn't have to be a massive number of people. In fact, how many of you have ever experienced that when you go sometimes to the smaller events, you have the best connections? And I'm not saying there's one is better than the other, but I'm saying stop diminishing the impact that an intimate event can create and the profit that it can create for you. So number one, we start small, but we start. So can you get 25 people to stop everything they're doing in their life and come and participate in your event? That's number one. Number two, when we're going into the event, we're very clear about our expenses as well as our projection of what we're going to earn. So we don't just jump into an event just because and we start spending money. No, we need to know, here is the amount of profit that I want to make. And there's a formula for that. Here's the amount of profit that I want to make. And if I'm going to generate this much profit based on what I want, if I want my event to be 60% profitable or 70% profitable based on this number that I want to hit, then I can only spend this much. So you got to know that before you go in, not go in and you done spent, and you're like, oh my God, I ain't make no money. Now you're disgusted. Now you're depleted. Now you never want to host a live event again. So we work out those numbers beforehand. Here's another very important part. Again, forecasting what this event can produce in terms of numbers. So number one, what is my revenue goal for the event? Number two, my must, and let's add the word must to that. What is my must revenue goal? And then number two, what is my stretch revenue goal? So must revenue goal, and this is all the heavy hitters do this. So Dr. Cheryl does this, Shay does this, Lisa Nichols does this. I've served on Lisa's personal sales team. I know exactly every move they make, every step they take to get to their 1.6 million that they convert at that 4-day conference. I've served on other people's sales teams. I've been in the room and watched them sell. I've watched them forecast before we go into the sale. This is how we do it. We ask, what's my must revenue goal? What's my stretch revenue goal? Then we back into that, and I'm gonna come back to that. But we ask ourselves now, how many qualified prospects do I need to put in the room in order to achieve that revenue goal? So if I say, well, my revenue goal, my must, meaning I cannot host this event unless it's going to at least generate $30,000 or $10,000, right? It doesn't have to be a big number. Let's start small. Let's say 10,000. Okay, it must generate $10,000. Okay, great. But my stretch is, I would love for it to generate 20,000. So we got a must and then we got a stretch. Then it's, well, how many qualified prospects do I need to be in that room so that I can hit that goal? Well, let's go on the foundation of, I'm going to pull out my calculator. Let's go on the foundation of what most speakers, right? Let's just put ourselves in a bucket of average right now, because we'll grow into being extraordinary at selling. But for now, let's put ourselves in the bucket of average. And we say, well, look, most average speakers are closing 10% to 20% of the room. So if I know that I want to hit a certain number, I've got to know, what am I selling? What's the price point of what I'm selling? And then how many people do I need to get in the room so that I can at least close 10% of the room to get to that number? Does that make sense? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Yes or yes? Give me a yes or a yes in the chat. I never give you an option to say no, but yes or yes in the chat. And I'm hoping that y'all are taking copious notes. What's my number? So if you say, well, I want to generate $10,000 at my live event, okay, great. Well, what am I selling to get me to the 10,000? Oh, I'm going to be selling my $1,000 product. Okay. So I divide 10,000, which is the number that I want to bring in, by 1,000, which gives me what? 10. So I need 10 qualified people to say yes to my offer, to my $1,000 offer. So what does that mean? Somebody give me the math. So then how many people do I need in that room to get to the 10 who are going to say yes? 10,000 is my number. My product offer or service offer is $1,000. I need 10 people to say yes. So how many people do I want to make sure I put in that room if at the low end, I only close 10% of the room? Hello, 100 people. I need 100 people in this room so that I can close this amount of people, 10%, which is 10 people at my $1,000 thing. Now, if we increase the amount of if we decrease our number our must goal, and or we increase our package, then we can lessen the number of people in the room. So if I take that and I say, well, I'm not going to offer my $1,000, you know what I'm going to offer? I'm going to offer my $3,000 product. And I really do want to walk away with $10,000 in my pocket from this event. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my 10,000 and I'm going to divide it by 3,000, which means I need how many people to buy? 3. I need 3 people to buy my $3,000 package for me to walk out of this room with about 10 grand. Okay, 3, not 33, 3. 3 people, because 3,000 times 3 is 9,000, right? So it's giving you like 3.3. So let's just call it 4. Let's just say 4 people. So 4 people times 3,000 would put you over your number because it would bring you out to 12. So in order to close 3 people, if I'm converting 10% of the room, how many people do I need in the room? Yes. Now I only need 33 people in the room to close 3. I might say, well, 40 because I want to close 4 because I want to get closer to the 10 than be at closer to the 9. It's all about forecasting and formulas and thinking these things through ahead of time. Now, that 10 has nothing to do with the expenses that you spend. Let's remember that. So then you gotta go in and figure out, well, what's my expenses that's going to pull away from, right? So you might generate 10, but that doesn't mean you keeping that 10. That doesn't mean that's $10,000 in profit. So you have got to be able to establish, well, how much do I need to generate to be profitable? And we won't get into that because y'all know I'm on limited time. And I know you are too. I know a lot of you are at work and you've been watching and I love it. But just know that these are the things that you have to think about beforehand before you just jump in and host an event. Some of you, it looks fun, it looks pretty, it looks cute because everybody's doing it. But have you really counted the costs? And are you willing to figure out the numbers behind the scenes before you say yes? So let me give you some questions. I want to give you some questions to think about. I want to give you some expenses to think about. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Shay. All right. So
Go ahead. You got it. You're rocking and rolling. If you're out there and you're like, you know what? I want to have my own event, live event or virtual event, and Dr. Wood's going to keep rolling what she's doing. Just go ahead and text the word event, because one thing, Dr. Wood, she's been sending me notes every single day, by the way. So we're putting everything into a workbook, and we're also looking at how we're going to reformat and add some of these goodies to a boot camp. I know many of you text the word boot camp because you're interested in that, and we'll talk about that. And that's going to be an experience. It's going to be live, and it's only for a handful of folks who are going to be there. But just text the word event right now. Text the word event to 202-270-1662. And you're like, you know what? I want to have an event. It could be a live event, could be a virtual event, could be an event that you're doing a broadcast, could be a number of different things. But just text the word event, because as a speaker, it's time for you to create your own stage. Yeah. It's time for you not just to create a stage. She went somewhere I didn't think she was going, but to have a profitable stage on purpose, on passion, that delivers what you want to your end user. For those purpose and passionate folks that are out there, it'll still be there, but it's going to be profitable, because that's what we do. Text the word event right now. I'm coming to you right now. Text the word event to 202-270-1662. Again, 202-270-1662. Text the word the event. We got the list going. And then when she finishes, we'll talk about how you can come out to something very shortly, to a boot camp, and hang out with us as well. Back over to you, Dr. Wood. I love how you're saying it has to be profitable, and you started with the money. Most folks like to start with the colors and what's going on in the goodie bag. You start off with the money, and she started it with the most important part, which is how do you impact someone's life? How do you transform someone's life? How do you take the gift you had to make someone's life or someone's business better? She didn't get into sponsorships and all that. She's going, no. You were called to serve some folks. Some of you said born to serve. And she's like, you put the people you were called to serve in that room, and you transform their lives with your gifts, with your talents, and with everything that you have inside of you. And then they continue to be blessed working with you. And she started a very important part, because some of you think, well, what about if I just get sponsors? I can avoid all that. That's something. Look, right now, she's focused on you doing what you do best. Your gift, your talent, your message, your story changes lives. That's why you were born to serve. The rest is just gravy money. No, I'm joking. All right, Dr. Wood, I got to turn it back over to you, because I know you on. She got the limited time. She told me a couple times, limited time. I love it, but she's here. She showed up, and that's what it's about. Over to you. I got to stop. Over to you.
Yeah, and look, and I don't want to discount sponsorships, and when people who go through my program get the full gamut. We talk about everything, the business side of speaking, and the business side of speaking encompasses hosting your own events. And yes, you can get sponsorship dollars, but for a lot of you, you're looking for sponsorships from Toyota and Colgate and these big companies, and they don't know you, and you have no data for them to be able to say, oh, they want to come and be a part of your event. You have no proof. So when you're looking at big sponsors with big names who are going to put up big dollars, you've got to have some proof and some data to show them, number one, who is your demographic? What's the percentages? What's the percentage of men versus women? What's the percentage of people who are generating, household income of $100,000 versus the percentage of those who are generating 250,000 or more? Like, you got to have some data. And so many of you, this might be your first. So maybe you're not getting the big sponsors. Now, there are ways to be able to still get sponsorship dollars that save you money, that go towards your bottom line and your profit margin for the conference. But that's a lot to put into one packaging for just this session. So those who have gone through my center stage speakers, they know that's what we talk about. People who have gone through some of my other speaker programs, we literally pull back the black curtain and we give you all that information. I will say this one thing in terms of sponsorships. Sponsorships don't necessarily have to be monetary sponsorships. Sponsorships can be in-kind sponsorships that save you the money that you would have had to spend if you had to pay for that thing. So that still comes off of your bottom line. And that's where a lot of people get it twisted, because they're like, oh, well, no, you got to put up $10,000. Well, if someone puts up $10,000 in an in-kind sponsorship that you don't have to spend out of your budget, hello, isn't it the same? If a photographer puts up $5,000 of photography costs and you don't have to spend the $5,000 as an expense, you take that off of your list, doesn't that increase your bottom line? So sometimes we got to go beyond thinking that everything has to be only a monetary sponsorship where somebody writes us a check. And secondly, and then I'll move on, we have to get past the idea of, oh, only big companies can sponsor. You had better tap into your community of small business owners and entrepreneurs who are hungry for visibility and connectivity, and they want to sponsor because they want their business to be seen in a brighter light, in a bigger light, and they want to be able to connect their brand to your brand. So don't sleep on the entrepreneurs and small business owners who might not be able to sponsor at a $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 level, but they sure can put up 2,500, or they sure can put up 1,500, because those 2,500s add up. Let's do the math. If I get 10 people, 10 small business owners to put up 2,500, that's $25,000 towards my event. If I get a photographer or a videographer to come in and they sponsor 5,000, not in monetary, but in kind, that just took $10,000 off of my line items. If I get someone who can come in and do in kind for centerpieces and decor or tote bags or the VIP gifts or anything I don't have to spend my dollars on, guess what that does? That decreases my bottom line, and it gives me more revenue, and it enhances my opportunity to be able to get to the profit margins. So always think about the big picture, not just something, oh, I want people to spend money. Well, they're still spending money, even if they're coming and they're giving you an in-kind, because it's something that they would have otherwise made money off of, but they're not. They are donating their services. That still comes off of your bottom line, because now I don't have to pay that photographer $5,000 and that videographer $5,000. Let me give you a few quick questions to think about, and then some expenses to consider that maybe you haven't considered. I just want to run through those really quickly. You allow it to kind of sink in later, think on it later as you're prepping for your own events. Number one, the question I want you to ask yourself is, will your event have a predominant theme? Like, a lot of times people don't think about the theme. So the preparation is not just the financial preparation. That's a big piece of it because we want it to be profitable, but also it's the logistics and the organization and the operations behind the scenes to produce an event that is done in excellence. And I want y'all to type this word down, because this is something I had to start shifting my mind to. I want you to write these two words: economical excellence. Economical excellence. So I am a person who I go above and beyond over, and I love things to be nice, and the nicer they are, the more expensive they become. And so what I've learned and put the vocabulary I've put into my own mindset is, Cheryl, we can do things in excellence, but still make it economical. So I am now on the path of economical excellence. I can still host an amazing event, but I don't have to put all these bells and whistles to try to make it pretty to draw you in when you are not there for that. You're there to have your soul fed. Yes? Like, you're there to be able to get content and information that will allow you to go out into the world and execute your story, your vision, so that you can leave your imprint on the world, your fingerprint, your impartation to the world. So sometimes we've got to pull back from how pretty we want it to look if it's not going to get us to a space of profitability. Doesn't mean it can't still look pretty. Doesn't mean it can't still be done in excellence. But the more I go out and I go to a lot of these conferences, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, chick, you doing the most. Has anybody ever caught themselves? I'm just saying, let's be honest. Like, you doing the most, and you doing the most is costing you. So I've learned I got to put on my CEO hat. And my CEO hat says, stop worrying about all the bells and the whistles and the extras and the this and the that is keeping you broke in your events. No, we're here for profit. We're CEO. We're not here just for it to be a big party at your expense. So just think about that. Here's the next question. Will your event be based on a specific message, mission, or movement? Is there a specific date that you're considering hosting your event? And does it kind of bump into another big event that's being hosted in your local region where it may cause you to have a lesser attendance? Now, that's not to say that you can, that you will ever be in a space where you will only host your stuff based on other people's stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But what I mean, I'll give a quick example. One year I was hosting the Playtime is Over Women's Business Conference, and I'd set a date and gave the hotel the date, and the hotel came back and said, well, that's the date of the Marine Corps Marathon. And I'm like, oh, snap. Now, it wasn't about people not still coming to my event. It was about doing my event in excellence. And what I knew was that because the Marine Corps Marathon was going to be there, streets were going to be blocked off, parking was going to be atrocious, trying to get a hotel room, like the hotels were all going to book up really quickly, which meant my people were not going to get the best rates. It was going to impact the hotel accommodations and the rates. Like I considered all of those things. All the restaurants would be full when they were trying to get out and get a quick bite to eat and come back to the conference for lunch or dinner. I didn't want my people to have to deal with that. So because of that, I decided I shifted it to the next weekend. So think about things like that and do your research beforehand. Is it a holiday weekend? Is your attendance going to be impacted because everybody's away on vacation? Or they're thinking about being out in their front, in their back of their yard doing some kind of cookout or picnic. Like you've got to think about those things, because then what happens is nobody comes, or you got, 2 people to sign up and you are deflated and now you never do it again. So you think these things through beforehand. Will your event be hosted in person or will it be virtual? And I'll say this as well. Don't underestimate your opportunities to be able to have a profitable event, even virtually. So you guys know we launched a SpeakerCon in 2019 as a live event. And then right after that, we were in the pandemic. So 2020 and 2021, our conference went virtual. Well, last year, we still closed almost $500,000. We were right at like $430,000 that we closed at the conference. That was virtually. Imagine what we can do live. So of course, now this year, and we're going to be back live, our numbers, our projection, our must revenue goal and stretch revenue goal has drastically increased, because if we could hit 430 virtually, we should absolutely be able to go much higher than that when we are in person and people are experiencing us, not just online. So those are a few of the questions that you can ask. I have more, but I won't go through all those. Let me give you some of the expenses that you can consider as you're prepping for. I'm just going to kind of run through this and then I'm going to turn it back over to Shay because I got to get out of here. So think about these expenses. Your event planner, what's their fee? Are you going to have an event website? The answer is yes. You must have an event website, right? At least an event landing page where people can go. They'll be able to click the button to buy tickets or whatever it is. You can provide information. So if you go right now to speakerconconference.com, you see all the information for SpeakerCon, including now the agenda is available. So you can look at the agenda, what are the core hours of the event. You can look at who the speakers are. Like there's all this information. You can look at the gallery from our last year, even though we did it virtually, we did the gala live. You can look at the gala pictures. Like it gives you something to look forward to from our last year's event. Are you going to have an event app? So now we're in a oftentimes a virtual world where people want to have an app on the phone so that they can easily access let's say the agenda. So are you going to put that into place? What about the venue? What is the cost for the venue or the meeting space? What about your audio visual? And I'll tell you, the 2 biggest expenses that you will ever spend on an event are audio visual and food, if you're having it at a hotel. Now that could be different if you're having it at a venue that's not a hotel. But if you're having it at a hotel, then you've always got to consider AV is going to be expensive, and also food and beverage is going to be expensive. You'll hear them call it their F&B. What's your F&B minimum? Now, a lot of times, if the hotel gives you an F&B minimum, they will waive the cost of the fee. There won't be a room rental fee. But if you are not getting food there, then they will charge you the room fee. But especially if you're hosting it multiple days, you've got to know those numbers in advance. Okay. Let me give this one thing real quick about the AV as well. When you're doing it at a hotel, AV at the hotel most times will always cost about 3 times what it would if you bring in your own AV team. So I would encourage you to look outside of the hotel for AV. The hotel will most hotels will allow you to bring in your own AV team, and you can literally save thousands of dollars on AV. It could be a minimum of $10,000 all the way up to $20,000 or $25,000 that you save just by bringing in your own AV. Okay. Are you going to have an on-site production team? Someone who's actually going to be there in the room and they're going to produce it? Are you going to have on-site staffing, like to do registration? Are you going to have greeters? Are you going to have people who are doing social media? And is that going to cost you? Is that going to be a fee that you're going to have to pay out? Or what about setup and breakdown costs? So even if you have someone who's bringing in decor and they're making the room pretty, they're usually set up and breakdown costs. Have you counted that? Or did you just count, I'm spending this much on these chairs or these chair covers or whatever, and you didn't even think about the additional $800 it was going to cost you for that company to come and set it up and then come back and break it down? Are you going to be using that decor for multiple days, especially if you're doing like furniture rentals for your stage? You've got to count that cost is going to be per day, per 24 hours, not just one cost. So if they say, oh, the couches are $500 per couch, and you need those 2 couches on your stage for 4 days, that's $1,000 for 4 days, right? So that's now $4,000 on top of the setup and the breakdown. Got to think through all of those things and how fancy you want to get and what your budget really will allow you to do. Photographers and videographers, if they're not sponsoring, you've got to count how much is that going to cost me. Any special entertainment that you're going to have. Are you going to provide rooming for any special guests? So a lot of times with SpeakerCon, whatever speakers that we are hiring to come in, we cover not only their speaker fee, but we also cover their expenses, which includes their rooming, which includes ground transportation, which includes certain meal expenses. Are you covering those things? How many people are you covering that for? Are you covering flights for speakers to come in? Are you paying them their speaker fee? What stage setup are you going to have? Are you going to have stage decor? What's that going to cost you? How much is the pipe and drape? Y'all know the pipe and drape is just the curtains. Let me tell you about pipe and drape. That's another expensive expense. You'd be surprised how much a couple little curtains cost you. I'm like, they just some curtains that they use over and over again. Pipe and drape. You got to add that as a part of your cost. Are you going to have a dance floor? If you're going to have a dance floor because you're having an awards gala or some part that's a party, a fun part, are you going to get that dance floor wrap? A wrapping of a dance floor could cost you almost $3,000 just for that one thing. Are you going to have table decor? Is it going to be specialized linens and tablecloths and custom chairs? And are you going to have uplighting in the room? Are you going to have printed event programs where people are able to flip through and see who the speakers are and find out their Instagram handles? Are you going to have signage that brands your company? What graphics do you have to pay for in preparation for? So you've seen the beautiful graphics that we do for SpeakerCon. That costs. We pay a graphics team to produce all those graphics. And we're not talking about for 1 or 2 speakers. We're talking about at least 30 speakers, right? Multiple event graphics. What about any type of specialized equipment that you have to bring in for the thing? What about marketing and PR? What about insurance coverage? So you've got to make sure the people that are coming in, they have insurance coverage, or you might have to pay for the insurance coverage. So for instance, for SpeakerCon, our DJ has to have insurance coverage because he's plugging into the power at the hotel. Now he's bringing all his own equipment, but he is plugging into their power. Therefore, he has to have a certain level of insurance coverage. What about if you're going to be printing some type of physical event tickets? What about if you're doing an awards gala and you got to purchase the awards? What about any type of raffle items? What about parking for speakers or special guests? Like the list goes on and on. Are you going to give out branded items that brand your company or brand that event when they walk in the door? Is it a tote bag? Is it some kind of swag item? Is it a cup or a glass or a mug? All of those things are costs. This is important. What about sales order forms? Because I would anticipate that you're going to be selling something at your conference. And so you need to have, if you're going to be selling your course, your program, your package, do you have order forms that people can fill out and put their information in so that when they commit right now. We process it right now. Put your credit card on this form right now, right? Because this is a commitment to yourself. So we hold people accountable to the commitment they say. We don't want you sign it and you think you're going to sign up, but you think we're going to wait until 3 days later to process your deposit. No, you signed it right here. And on the form, it tells you this is going to be processed immediately. And then when you still are in the space, we get to connect with you and say, hey, we had an issue with the card. Maybe it's your the wrong billing zip code. But you don't even know any of that stuff unless you have their information on an order form. And guess what? You have a copy of the order form and they have a copy of the order form. So it's a big deal if you're really going to do an event that's profitable and that's done in excellence. There are a lot of things to think about in terms of getting it to a space where it is profitable. So there's so many other things I can share with you, but I'm going to pause right there because I got 4 minutes to get out the door. I hope that added really, really, really great value to you and gave you some things to think about on the money side, the profit side, but also on the planning and logistics and orchestration side of what it really takes to pull off an event that's done in excellence and that allows you to be profitable. Shay?
I love it. And one of the things, the way you started, I think was spot on, which is you don't have to do it grand. One of the things that Dr. Wood does, she's known for doing, is she's known for coming out and saying, this is exactly what I'm doing because you want to know. And she does it the right way. And for many of you, you're going to start right there. But there's also another population of you that she talked about yesterday, hosting a mastermind. Same concept. You've got to get a location. Same concept. You got to bring folks in. Same concept. Here's the takeaway. Then I know you got to go in 2 minutes. I'll give you your closing comments. Here's the takeaway. Create your event. Now, you weren't blown away earlier. You didn't start shouting earlier when she mentioned start small, but start. Now, I know you didn't jump up and down and say, oh my gosh, that's so profound. Like it didn't hit you. But for some of you out there right now, you're like, you've been thinking about this. You've been watching other people do this. Some of you have been praying about this. Some of you have been saying, this is your moment. This is your time. And truthfully, for some, not all, but for some, you're right where you were before COVID started. Like, it's not a good thing or bad thing. You're more ahead in other areas. But in terms of creating your own event, your own stage, if there ever was a time, now maybe you have a podcast and that's cool. And she says, well, how do you monetize it? Maybe you've done a masterclass or a webinar, but she said, well, how do you monetize it? Maybe you've done a virtual event. The question is, how do you monetize it? There's two pieces here. There's speak and then there's sell. And then I'm going to come to you for closing comments in 2 minutes. There's only 3 ways to bring in traffic. There's only 3 ways to get folks into your database, into your funnel that we talk about tomorrow. 3 ways. The first way is you go out there and you just talk to your current list and say, please come to my event. Some folks don't even have a database. And the database is the hub to the whole freaking company. And that might not be you, and that's okay. I might be talking to someone else, but this is real talk. The second way to really generate people to come to your event is organically. Organically, what she's talking about now, you're speaking, you're inviting, you're collaborating, you're doing books, you're doing podcasts. She listed a whole lot of DPO type of products, but they're all kind of lead ways to come in. And then the third way is you go pay for it. You go do paid traffic. You go pay for the money. And right now, most of you right in organic side. Dr. Woods, you've got about a minute and a half here. I'll give you to give your closing comments. Some folks are texting boot camp to me already. But just take a moment and just talk about those folks that are sitting on the fence and saying, I got to go do an event. I got to get going. What are your closing comments? Some of that. I'm going to come right behind that and talk about virtual events and webinars and masterclasses and challenges. So you hang in there. But the event, that's like number 1 way to go.
Yeah, it matters. It needs to be a mandatory part of your business model that you are going and your revenue streams that you're going to host your own events. Again, stop begging people to put you on their stages. Stop feeling like you always in chase mode. I'm chasing this person. I'm chasing that person. And I'm chasing this company. And I'm trying to get somebody to let me on their stage. No, let me tell you, the best thing that I figured out early on was that people want to be connected to not a parked vehicle. People want to be connected to a vehicle that's already moving. Like if you got your own stuff and you're not dependent upon other people and you created your own community and you're hosting your own events consistently and you're bringing in revenue from that, then you never have to feel like you're in a space where you're chasing somebody else to invite you to their stage. Now I get invited to all kinds of stages. Why? Because I was a moving vehicle. Like people already knew whether you invite me to your stage or not, you're not stopping this vehicle from moving. But that started small. It wasn't, I hosted SpeakerCon and had 350 guests, or I had it virtually, had 1,000 guests. No, that's not where I started. I started at the Hampton Inn, which was about $100 to rent the room. Got those little chair covers that was about $1 a chair cover. Used the hotel's tablecloths so that I could make it nice, but it was nice on my budget that I had at the time. I grew into a bigger budget, which allowed me to execute at a higher level. But I started somewhere and I started making an offer in a room of 25 people before I ever made an offer in front of 2,500 or 250. So you've got to get started where you are with what you have, with what your budget is right now, and try to keep the expenses low so that you can come out profitable. And what happens every time you come out profitable is your confidence increases. Like you get that boost like, oh, shucks, I did it. And how many of you know, every time you do I did it, it gives you the confidence to come and try it again. And then you play a little bit bigger the next one. And then you play a little bit bigger the next one. And every time you're getting the result that you aim for, which allows you to grow your confidence, which allows you to now get out and do what's necessary to market to more people because you start to see the benefit and the result that people are getting from being at your events. And you want to expand that. And then you start to see the benefit and result that people get because they sign up for the stuff that you offer at your event and you want to expand that. So it's just literally, it's building upon the next thing and the next thing and the next, but you got to get started in order to expand something. You got to get started in order to tweak things. Like you can't tweak something and make it better that you never even started. So my 2 cents is just get started. where you are with
And it's
what you
raining
know right
outside
now.
now. So,
With
and
what
it's
you
raining
know right
right now
now.
outside.
Look, get
Okay.
started right now with what you know right now, with who you have access to right now, with the network that you already built and the budget that you already have. That's my 2 cents.
And it's raining. They're sending me numbers saying it's 217, it's 216. Like Shay cut. So I didn't. Sorry to cut you off and jump right in, but
Like, get out of there. Go
please,
get them kids. I'll
please
talk to
go
y'all
get your
tomorrow.
kids.
Thank you, Jay.
God bless. We'll see. We'll see you tomorrow. By the way, for those folks that as you were listening to Dr. Wood, go. Two things. I'm gonna talk about monetizing and making money with 3 other avenues right now. But some of you out there listening saying, Shay, I like what I'm hearing. Shay, I'm doing my event. Shay, I need a POI. I need to grow my list. This is my moment. Do me a favor. Even if you text yesterday, text right now. Just text the word boot camp. Text the word boot camp. We're going to be doing a speak and sell boot camp. It'll be coming up very shortly. And it's an opportunity to be in the room, in the experience, hands-on material, going through what we're going through now, but strategizing and building that out so we can implement it. And for some of you, it's getting in front and sharing your story. For others, it's being part of the media day that's going to be taking place. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. Just text the word boot camp to this number, 202-270-1662. Again, text the word boot camp to 202-270-1662 so that you can get all the details. If nothing else, you want all the details. There'll be something special for everyone that texts in. Yes, you'll get a special discount. Yes, you'll get the early bird. And more importantly, we're going to be doing, I think, a 3 or 4 week lead in up to the boot camp. That's going to be like really, really incredible. I think we're doing that on Zoom. So you guys, we can see you and you can see us and you can ask questions in a very, very private, intimate setting. And we're doing all that because we want to work with a group of folks who next year, not just from your speaking business, not from your coaching business, but the impact that you're going to have is going to be totally amazing. And if you think about it, if you would ask when your days come to an end, would you rather have success or have impact in the world? If you had to pick between the two, success or impact, the obvious answer is, for many, the obvious answer is what? Both. You want to have both. Most people would say success, impact every single day. But what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could impact the world, be successful at the same time? And that's what it's all about. So text the word boot camp to 202-270-1662. Include your first name, 202-270-1662. Include your first name, include your last name, include your best contact number so we have that in your email so we can shoot you all the details. And for those folks that just were here early and heard the POI and said, Shay, I need more POIs, because the average person that works with a POI today, person of influence, the average representative or the average entrepreneur works with 1 or 2 POIs. If I was to ask you right now, who are you working with that you're really trying to influence? Most folks, 1 or 2, if they're good. The superstars, the millionaires, I call them the sales millionaires, the top 1% of folks, they work with 25 to 35 POIs on a monthly basis. And this is real. So I want to just give you a list of 25. I want to be able to meet with you, say, here are 25 POIs in your industry, target them as well. And now your whole life got a lot easier. And that's on a monthly basis. So text the word POI. And you might say, Shay, why are you doing that? Because some of you out there, you want a little more, you want something customized. We're trying to push it out as fast as we can. And yeah, we try to do a whole lot. And we want to keep these to less than an hour or less than 45 minutes. And obviously, well, we're well over that. But text the word POI for person of influence. You want your private customized list. You want to have a one-on-one session so we can do that for you. The number to text that to is 202-270-1662. The same number, 202-270-1662. Include your first name, include your last name if you haven't done that already, and your best contact number. And we'll have a conversation. Let's identify 25 POIs that you can work with. You were born to serve. Hashtag born to serve. And creating your own stage, there are really 4 main stages that I want you to think about, and I want you to absolutely put on your 12-week year plan now to create. And then for those folks that are texting me, I think Cheryl, let me see what I can tell when she says, because it goes on and on when she does that. Okay. Yep, she did. She's good. She'll be there. She's not going to speed. So she'll get the kids. So that's good to know. There are four type of stages. Let me just frame the conversation. You're an entrepreneur, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a coach, you're a trainer, you're in this industry, you might be a brick and mortar, and you want to market your business. There are four type of stages. I'm gonna put them in order of relevance if I can, and then I'm gonna share with you how to monetize it as a speaker or as an entrepreneur. I'm gonna look at it from a sales view of the world. So Cheryl gave you her speaking view of the world, and there's all things you got to do as a speaker, as a CEO. But I want to break it down just one level lower than that and make this easy. If I would like to say easy to understand and really easy to execute. Four. These are what's working today. The first one is a event. Let's call it a conference. And that conference can be a live conference or virtual conference. Now, you can do both. It's not an and or conversations. Andrea, who's doing Seven Figure Boss Summit, is doing something really, really amazing. She's doing both. She has a live event that's taking place on that Saturday. And then there's this whole virtual part that takes place that Thursday and Friday. And it's a wonderful experience. And live events are the fastest way because of two reasons. One, the collaboration, the power partnerships. And in many cases, the live event has an expense. The virtual event has an expense, a little less of expense, a little less of a risk. The biggest part for both of them is building the sales infrastructure or the sales funnel. I think we're talking about it tomorrow. That supports both of them. And why do I say that? Because there's a registration page. Obviously, that's one way to do it, and that's got to attract the sponsors, people registering, people paying, and so forth. Then, for many of you, there's the second page, which is the checkout page. And in the checkout page, while the registrations page is to say, here's the event, here's what's going on, here's all the wonderful things. You can buy a ticket, or you can register. Once they're registered, there's a natural progression to a checkout page, which some of you might call an upsell page, that might have where they can get a VIP ticket. It might have where they can get a ticket to the breakfast. It might have sponsorship. It might have some other cool stuff on there. And then, whether it's a live or virtual, for some of you, there is the sponsorship page for sponsors that are just, they go to one place. So after the registration page, they're not just getting a brochure in the mail anymore, one pager. I mean, those days are gone. They've got a sponsor page. And some of you may have what they call a call for speakers. You're building this crowd-funded speaker approach where there's some slots that are open where someone like Shay Brown, and I'd still do this to this day, can not have the expense of the live event, not have the expense of the hotel. She don't have to worry about the contract. She don't have to worry about putting together the infrastructure. You don't have to worry about the marketing. He ain't worry about getting people there. All she has to do is write a fraction of a check that says, look, I'm all in. I like some space on the stage. And Cheryl mentioned she used to do live events, and I used to do them every week in Columbia, Maryland at the Hilton Garden Hotel. Her room was $100. My room was $125. We started around the same time. And one of the things that I used to do when I had the smaller room that used to seat 20 people. So once a month, I did the Right Now Sales Boot Camp and some other cool stuff, the closed conference right there with 20 people. When I wanted to go across the hall at the Hilton, they had a bigger conference room. One of the things I'll do is I would rent that, and it might be $5,000 back then. And I would get on the phone and call my colleagues. Cheryl was one of them and others. And I would say, I'm doing this event. I'm doing this conference. Would you like to contribute to it? And as a result of contributing to it, you have some shared time on the stage. Back then, it wasn't really called, where you get a speaker, you got to apply and all that. It was really me collaborating because I couldn't take on $5,000 for the hotel and let everybody in for free and then hope they bought something on the other side, right? It just reached a point where economically it didn't make sense. And so you take that same concept in today's time. That was 20 years ago we were doing that. This has not changed. In today's world, you have authors, speakers, coaches, trainers that don't want the headache. They have a life, they have a family, they have other activities, and they're like, look, you do the work, I'll write a small check to contribute, and I'm down. And you can think about that, right? And you think about, the cost of, like she said, putting on an event, and let's say the event's going to cost you, I don't know what the number is, 10 grand. And you've got it for 8 hours, and you carve out some time, and you have 5 speakers that want to participate, and let's say whatever the investment for them is a fraction of the cost. I don't know, $1,997, $2,000. Now you got 5 speakers, you've got 10 grand. There's nothing to whine or cry about. The place paid for its freaking self because you all contribute to make it available as a unit. And it's a concept. It's not a pay to play. I know those are out there, and some people have made the industry right now just horrible. Like, oh, you just pay to play, you pay to play. No, that's not where I'm going. Those models do exist. Okay. You can't pretend that it's like sales. Sales got a bad rap because of people who were scamming people and trying to convince people and pushing them and being negative. And we're working as hard as we can to say that no, sales is honorable. It's an honorable job to have to serve other folks. And so unless you plan on doing this for evil, like you're going to sell, I don't know, drugs to kids, or you're going to sell alcohol to an alcoholic person, or you're going to do something dark and evil, then it's good. It's good when you serve. Like right now, you hope you feel good that you were sold to be part of this challenge right now. You were sold to be in this experience right now. I feel good knowing that we're doing the best we can to give you all the information that we can, that you can now go do something. When you leave here, you can take action on any day and you do it and it'll shift your business. And I say that because virtual or live, that's just one. That's the fastest way because the list comes in. You've got speakers that are sharing your message. So now you don't have to pay Facebook. And I shared with someone, I just wrote a check. It was only $5.97. It was still a lot of money to be on another thing I didn't even know about, saw it on Instagram. They said yes to that. And now I'm like, I'd rather pay you $5.97 than write a check to Facebook right now. All right. And now you're promoting me to your target audience that I don't even know. Okay. So I'm not here to push that and belabor that, but I am here to say that there's sponsorship dollars when you do a live event. That's cool. And that's something that she'll talk about later. She does sponsorship better than anybody I know, by the way. She's really good at it. Sponsorship dollars. There are vendor dollars, and even in the virtual space, you can have folks that are vendors that are virtual vendors. These aren't new ideas, but these are all dollars that come in to the door. Okay, and your event, in many cases, paid for itself before the door is even freaking open. The door ain't even open, and everything else that should just be profit. And this is not you selling. This is you having an event, right? So then you have virtual sponsors. That's another dollars. There's obviously speakers or folks that want to co-sign on a part of this. Then there's a fourth one, there's co-hosts. And the co-host is a little different. You might have a speaker that just says, I just want a spot. Follow me, follow me, follow me. They just want a spot. But a co-host says, you do everything. I'm writing a much bigger check, but include me down as a co-host. I get a share in some cases of the list that comes in. I get a share and have my photo everywhere. And you're going to market and promote me. And when you do your trainings and other stuff, I have center stage speakers. And I pay for marquee, just like when you fly in an airplane, in many cases, you upgrade to first class. And that's a co-host. And some folks, they're not looking for co-hosts. They want to do it all themselves, and that's fine. And others are. I'm just, from a sales view, if I was your chief sales officer and you were sitting in here right now and saying, I'm looking at the next 12 weeks, not the next 12 months. If you haven't got the book, The 12-Week Year is one of my all-time favorites. Maybe I'll do a whole challenge on that. But the next 12 weeks, and you said, what's the one thing I can do that could explode my leads coming in of folks in an area that I'm interested in? Because not about how many, it's the right folks at the right time. I would say put on a virtual summit or live summit, a virtual summit or live summit, big or small, but do that. If you don't want to do a live one yet, start with a virtual. A virtual doesn't mean you're not ready to do it live. It just means you decide to do that. We do one now, the Comeback Champion Summit, and we've done a number of virtual summits for a number of folks. But you do it for 3 reasons. Let me tell you why you do an event for 3 reasons, other than the money, obviously. But number one, it generates new folks in front of your brand who you have no idea are on the planet today. Strangers. Everyone do me a favor. In the chat, if you're still here, write down strangers, right? Strangers. I said before that your existing database will help you grow your business and put money in your pocket. Strangers will make you wealthy. And so we've been blessed to be on stages now, not because of Shay Brown. I'm not even the best speaker out there, by the way. I don't even consider myself a speaker. I'm not an NSA certified person and all this other stuff. I'm just a guy that just shares my story and shares my message and shares what I do. But I've been blessed to be on a lot of stages right now because of other individuals who have connected with me, and they've invited me and shared what I'm doing inside their network, and hence I got an invite. And what a blessing that is. I can't pay for that. I can't, there's better speakers than me. I can't pay for that. So I'm encouraging you to, I'm gonna get off this tip, but you create your own stage. If you're all in, do your own freaking event. You own, not rent. Put that down in your notes. You own the list. You own the brand. You own the name. You own it. You can do it over and over and over again. You own, not rent. Okay, not a good thing about it. That's number one. But I want you to create on stage. The second stage that I want you to create that I don't have time to get into right now, but I'm going to mention it. And for some of you who's interested, we'll have a one-on-one conversation because it's not for everybody. Right now, we're talking one-to-one, but I want to give you a sales view of the world because, again, if you outsource your sales team to us or you outsource your whole sales department, which a number of individuals do and companies do, as a chief sales officer, I'm only thinking one thing. Who are we going to serve? Where are they? And how do we get in front of them? And that's because I recognize that our job as entrepreneurs is to evangelize the message. Now, everything I learned in a Pentecostal church. Don't judge me on that. Please don't judge me on that. My mom was a bishop back in the 70s when it wasn't popular being a bishop in the 70s. As a woman, still might not be. We only had 38 members in our whole church, 25 kids. I was one of the kids. That means I got into a lot of trouble, by the way. But why do I tell you that? Why do I tell you that? Because one of the things I learned, and I'm still going to church now, and I love church, by the way. You may not be God-fearing, and that's okay. I'm a faith type of guy. But I learned that you've got to evangelize the message like never before in your life. You have to evangelize the message. So the reason I'm telling you this is the next thing I'm going to talk about in terms of challenges and so forth is a way for you. And you have two responsibilities every day. Your first responsibility is to be talking to people who have a problem. One-to-one, one-to-many, however you want to do it. And that's your number one job. And if you're not talking to people who have a problem, then you're doing everything you can to find and search and seek out people who have a problem, or to step back and say, if you have a problem, I'm over here. You can find me over here. Find me at the Comeback Champion Summit. Find me at the Close Summit. Find me at the Speaker Con. Find me here. They can find you. So you make yourself findable. It's a new word I've ever talked about lately. I'm findable because I have my own conference. Okay, I'm off that kick. I'm off that kick. Number two are challenges. Now, they used to be called 5-day workshops back in the day, but today they're called a challenge, where just like you're all participating in a challenge. And now folks can come to a place or a space, and they may have been in your database, and now you're doing something very specific. And so you take a few folks who come out. It's not everybody. You're not trying to get, I would say this, before COVID, it was all about how many people can you get there? How many? You had to have the numbers. How many people are in your list? How many people in your group? How many people are watching? That's not the case anymore. The pandemic's changed all that. It's having the right folks. Talking to someone who has Dove as a customer, and they're like, look, we'd rather you have 100 Dove fanatics. They just love Dove soap. Moms that talk about Dove soap. Fathers that talk about Dove soap. Kids that talk about Dove soap. We'd rather have 100 than have 20,000 people on a Facebook page or on this group over here, and they're not even active. Okay, so a challenge is an opportunity for you to come and spotlight your expertise, and in doing so, build an experience and also build a connection. So just like the summit raises your brand awareness, the summit positions you as an expert, the summit allows you to collaborate with other folks, the summit allows you to build your list. The challenge on the other side does the exact same thing. Could I just done a challenge on sales mastery? Sure. Could Cheryl, Dr. Wood done a challenge just on speaker mastery? Sure. But again, collaboration crushes competition. Collaboration crushes competition. So we decided, hey, let's just collaborate and let's share some time and do what we can to give folks what they need. So now you got your number one way is a summit. Some of you are going to put this in your plan. Number two way is a challenge. And if you're out there and you want to do a challenge, some of you text the word event and you just want to say, hey, I just want the blueprint. Like, give me the emails you guys did. Give me this. I'll give you all that stuff. Text the word challenge to that number. That's my number anyway. 202-270-1662. I know some of you are texting a lot. Some of you are watching the recordings. And the reason I say a virtual event as well is that there's so many more folks that will see the recording. The replays will outpace this 1,000 to 1. I promise you. So text the word right now, challenge. Text the word challenge. Text the word challenge. If you're like, okay, I need to do a summit, even if you text the word event earlier, Text the word challenge to 202-270-1662. Again, 202-270-1662. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, one way is an event. The second way that's working in the industry as of this message right now are challenges. And there's a lot of ways to do them. I like to do them where it's just complete value. I like to do them where you're able to serve. And some I like to do them where you can take questions and you can do that in the VIP and other special things. Okay, the third way is my favorite. Of course, they're all my favorite, right? You said, Shay, you said that about the summit. True. You said that about the challenge. True. Can you take a moment, Shay, and tell what's the difference between the challenge and the event again? The event is a big push out where people can learn and is one to as many folks as you can. A challenge says during this time, you're going to achieve this. So some of you just did your story. That was pretty good. Some of you came back later and said, this is what I need to do to get on the stage. Some of you yesterday said, this is the type of high product ticket I need to work on. And then some of you are going to get here and say, I need to create my stage. I've done it. I need to do something called optimization. Put that down in your notes. Optimization is when you take what you're doing now and you do it better. You take exactly what you're doing now and you do it better. That's optimization. So you're going to optimize your summit. You're going to optimize your event. You're going to optimize your challenge. The third way, which is top on the list, is to have an automated webinar that's running for you. And webinars still work. And I want you to know that there's all type of webinars. There's 10 different type of webinars. I can pull that up. I'm not going to do that now. But at the core of it is you have an opportunity to share your message. It's called a strategy webinar. And you can say, here's all the problems that exist. I'm solving it. And I want you to imagine right now, for all my dualpreneurs, for all my moms out there, for all you out there who got so much on your plate, imagine you slow down for a moment. You're going to speed up, but you slow down for a moment and you share your message. That message is recorded. At the end of the message, there's a way that they can take some action. Just like we're doing this challenge, all this challenge is going to be recorded. We could sell this. We could do a lot of stuff with it. We've created fancy pages where every day is on a separate page. We've done a whole lot of stuff. We've got a whole Speak and Sell Academy. We've got some cool stuff, but it's not about that. What a webinar is where it all starts. You share your message, your story, your content, or your expertise. And at the end, you let the audience know there is a next step over and beyond the webinar. Now, I can get into that in a moment. Now, you take that recording, whether it was you there by yourself or you had 100 people, and then you put that into a system that broadcasts every hour on the hour. And so now that broadcast is available on instant replay. As you're talking, as you're promoting, as you're giving away your free gifts, some of you are generating leads and so forth, you can invite them to a webinar. You're not there. They show up, and at the end, they can make a buy-in decision. And let me see if I think did I pull in here? I can pull it up. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over the 10 type of webinars. I don't get too technical on you. I'm not gonna go into the timeline. We got a webinar flow timeline. What happens from minute 1 to 5, minute 5 to 10. I'm looking ahead minute 10 to 11, but I know I'm well over and overtime. And this is not like I can't get it to you, but I don't want to overwhelm you. I want you thinking event, challenge, webinar. I say it again. Event, challenge, webinar. Those are three. Let me see if I got it here. Those are three things that you can do immediately that will have. Do I have it in here? I don't think I have it. Hold up. Let me see if I got it. Yeah, I do. Those are three things that you could do immediately that have the maximum amount of impact. Let me see. I'm going to show you why in just a moment. See if we pull this up. You can do this, Shay. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, for example, and the reason I'm doing this before I get to the fourth one is the other day when we were here and we were just kind of going over the value ladder, something I told you that I love that I learned from Russell Brunson, then I put my own remix version on it, is you notice you have a podcast, you have books, and you have courses. And inside the courses can be an automated webinar platform. And that allows you to be teaching what you know. And then you're not there. An offer can be made. They could go to a sales funnel and they can purchase. The reason I say this is that all roads in business lead to a professional sales conversation. And so why not automate the process? We don't have to be there. Now we can convert. And I want you to think in your own warehouse of those three. I haven't got to the fourth one yet, but of those three, which one either leads them to your core product, which we would call your revenue stabilization point. That's the product you're always going to offer. It's going to get you to at least $25,000 a month minimum of consistent, predictable, reliable income. Some of you, 25 is a big number. Some of you, it isn't. But I always like to look at $300,000 a year. If you're an entrepreneur, you can say, I want to get 7 figures, but let's get the $500,000 first, and life's okay for many, many, many folks. So I want you right now, of those three, event, virtual or live, challenge, or webinar, make a decision right now. Which of the three are you going to do that leads them either to your premium product, leads them to your advanced product, or maybe just leads you to the core courses and stuff that you're offering. This is very important because if this is all going to be part of our lead generation strategy, you can put this down in your notes. Tactics woven together equal a strategy. Tactics woven together equal a strategy. We're laying the foundation because we know day 5, I think it's tomorrow, we're going to get into funnels. And a funnel is just the entry point of your client's journey. They open up the door, they're in a funnel, and they make a decision on where they're going. Their journey begins. But when the journey begins, we're going to begin with the end in mind. The fourth one that I want you to have down is a boot camp or intensive or a mastermind. And I like creating that type of environment because you could do that, or you might call it retreat. Some people call it a retreat. You can do it virtually or you can do it live. And it's a little bit different because when it came to the live event, it was like a big party and it was fun and they learned and so forth. When they come to the mastermind, there are other folks that might be given and taken, right? There might be accountability in there. It may be an intensive that's part of it, but it's still something that's taking place that could start off, would you say, a baby step, paid or unpaid, that then leads them to the next step. And again, this is something you can look at your calendar. You can do every 3 months. If you're doing a virtual summit, you can do it every 4 months. That's 3 times a year. Once it's done the first time, you just keep building on it. If you're doing a live event, you can do it once a year. If you're doing a small mastermind or a boot camp, it's something that you can do, give high value, give so much high value. But again, it's creating your own stage for you to teach, for you to partner, and for them to get experience with you. And that's what the Speak and Sell Bootcamp will be all about. It'll be about all 3 of those. So with that being said, I wanted to share that with you. Some of you, you're like, I just need to get a webinar. Seriously, I haven't done one in a while. The one I have isn't converting. I need a neuro-linguistic style webinar. This is not like a buffet here, but some of you are just so many different places. I love getting the messages. I love folks that did the homework. So you might be saying, Shay, what's the homework and what's my assignment? Let me give that to you now. First, if you just want to do a webinar, just text the word webinar, to 202, is that the right one? 202-270-1662. Again, text the word webinar, I texted everything. It's okay. When we meet, we'll see, and you'll figure out what's most important for where you are right now. But text the word webinar to 202-270-1662. And then once you do that, that'll put us in a position and you can decide what fits you that's customized for where you are. Some of you will do all 3. I get it. Some of you are already working on all 3, right? But I want to close with this. It comes from Warren Buffett. I was watching a video of him recently, and he was talking about what to do in challenging times, what to do when there's unrest in the world, what to do when there's uncertainty in the world. One of the things he said is that the best investment you can ever make during these times is in yourself and improving your skill set. And you think about it, if everything was taken from me today, all my databases, all my information, and someone came to me and said, Shay, I'll give you $10,000 a week to just go retire and enjoy life. Let's just say that was it. And I had to make a choice. Or I can take everything I know right now, teach what I know and what I've been through, and start over again. Some people take the $10,000 a week, do 10 hours a week, whatever. Money's guaranteed for life. Or others like me and maybe you, you were born to serve. Hashtag born to serve. Do me a favor, put that down in the chat. Hashtag born to serve. You were born to serve. I would take everything I know right now, everything I've learned over my years, and I would just teach what I already know, and I would start over again. And I'm 100% confident, 100% confident, not in my talent, but there's people out there that need what I know and what I've been through that I can help, that I would do that every single time. And I'm confident we would rebuild all over again because we were born to serve. Hashtag born to serve. Hashtag born to serve. That will make a tremendous impact in this world and will make a difference. And you might be the same way. You've got what you need already. You've already got greatness inside you. You've already a winner. You're already a champion. You've taken coaching. You've taken training. You've been here. Everybody's still here almost for 2 hours. You're here. Even if you listen to the replay, God bless you. You're here. You're incredible. You don't have to be here live. You can be in the replay. You can be inside the academy. You're here. And because you're here, it says a lot. So take your right hand if you're right-handed. Take your left hand if you're left-handed. Pat yourself on the back right now. Just tell yourself, great job. Great job for showing up. Great job for getting started. Great job for understanding you don't have to get it right. You just got to get going. And you're going now, and I'm on the journey with you. I believe in you. I believe that your best is yet to come. And I believe big things are going to come from the folks that you impact, the lives you change, and the business that are shifted because they hear your voice and your message. So with that being said, on behalf of myself and Dr. Cheryl Wood, I'm looking forward to seeing you the next day. We're going to talk about, my favorite topic. Her favorite topic was obviously stories and all that. Mine's on sales funnels that sell, because you don't have to do the work. Your labor is not involved. And it makes the client journey and the client experience so much better, and it spotlights you. I can't wait. Tomorrow's going to be a game changer. So with that being said, stay humble. Stay hungry. And my name for those folks that are out there is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Keep changing lives. And if we did good today, if you're still here and we did a great job, just jot number 1 in the comment section. Just jot number 1. Number 1 is the bat signal that, you know what? Today was a good use of time. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. I'm out. Peace. I wish I could hang out with you. I'll see some of you on the other side. Your homework assignment. Someone say, Shay, what's the homework? Your homework assignment is to go and do a video on an event that you want to do, or a challenge you want to do, or a webinar you want to do. When I say do a video, say, I want to do an event. And the event's going to be called the Shay Brown event. And this event will help people because, I want the because frame. This event will help married couples stay married. This event will help folks that want to be healthy, be healthy. This event, if it's an event, or it's a challenge, or it's a webinar, I want you to speak it, not because you're going to do it, but I want you to with every fiber, as if you're talking right now, you're at the Coliseum, and there's 10,000 people there. And you got a chance to grab that microphone. You got a chance to share your vision for what you see. That's the event. That's the challenge. That's the webinar. That's the intensity I want from you. I don't want you to perform. I just want you to be you. Speak from the heart. Be yourself. And then share a story of why it's important to you. This challenge is near and dear to me because it didn't exist. I didn't know one place to go to where I could learn to speak and to sell in a way that doesn't feel sleazy and slimy, in a way that someone that's doing it on a consistent basis at a high level could come together. And hence, through a conversation, through collaboration, we're here. And I do believe in the giver's economy. The person that outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. You keep giving, you keep serving. Hashtag born to serve. I'm out. See y'all later. I'll see your homework. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm out. Peace. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it.